A new Netflix documentary miniseries uncovers the true story of one of the most audacious and largest bank heists in Brazil's history. What was the story behind this heist, and what really happened to Fortaleza's Banco Central on that fateful day? Let's find out in today's video. But as you know the drill, subscribe now and hit the notification bell icon for more uploads like this. Here we go! Fortaleza's Banco Central heist is straight out of a movie plot where the mastermind dug a 260-foot tunnel from a neighboring rented property to the basement of the bank and fled with 160 million Brazilian reals. This heist came at a huge cost. The reported mastermind was a man, Luis Fernando Ribero, who came with nothing other than a plan and a shovel. He and his group of around 29 burglars rented a commercial property about a block away from the bank and set up a foot. There was going to be a lot of dirt, about 30 tons. They decided to fake a landscaping business in order to not be too suspicious. First, they put up a sign synthetic grass. Next, they bought a van with an ad on the sides and parked it out in front of the bank. They even went door to door introducing themselves as the new landscapers in town. These guys cleverly masked their plan to make it seem they were businessmen workers, and it clearly worked. With their base plan established, the burglars got to digging. They were armed with electric saws, bolt cutters, GPS, and of course shovels. They dug a 13 feet deep hole in the property's back room. They then headed to their target. When completed, the tunnel was actually an impressive feat of engineering. The 28-inch diameter shaft stretched 250 feet. It was lined with wood panels and even had its own lighting and air circulating system. In all, police estimated it cost the burglars $200,000 just to construct the tunnel. On the night of August 6, 2005, the burglars broke through a 4-foot thick steel reinforced concrete wall and into the vault. Next, they shuffled the 3.5 ton of cash through the tunnel into the rented property and loaded them onto getaway cars. Now, the bank was of course oblivious to the fact that a robbery had taken place, and when they eventually did realize what had happened, it was a bit too late. When the workers arrived to the bank next Monday morning, they were welcomed to an empty vault and a gaping hole. And of course, the security cameras and sensors weren't working on the day of the burglary. You don't need to be surprised about that, since the burglars surely disabled the security system. In the empty vault, they also found empty energy drink cans, which is of course what these burglars were sipping on. Now, the burglary wasn't good press for the government, since this was their central bank, the topmost bank in the country. Police immediately began searching for the perpetrators, so did they find the thieves? Obviously not. The burglars were thorough in their plan and cleverly managed to cover their tracks. Investigators found large amounts of chalk throughout the tunnel the burglars used to hide their prints. Of course, prints were found. The second mishap occurred the next day when one member bought 10 cars at once in cash. This set off an obvious alarm. Once captured, one of the burglars spotted out everything he knew about the heist. He revealed the heist had a person on the inside, as well as the involvement of corrupt local politicians. In all, the investigation was a long and bloody campaign. 36 people were arrested in all. Of these, 26 went to jail for a mind-boggling 133 crimes. The burglars had nicknamed like Armadillo, Big Boss, and the German. Basically, they came up with nicknames like the Smurfs. Despite this, only 8 million was ever recovered from the 160 million reals that were supposedly stolen. However, if you think the story ends here, you're wrong. Big Boss, who probably is the mastermind behind the heist, escaped prison in 2011 and is still on the run. Armadillo, meanwhile, was sentenced to 17 years but only served 2 before he was released. The German, meanwhile, was arrested and got 70 years. Luis Fernando Ribero, nicknamed Little Fernando, was kidnapped, held for ransom, and murdered. There are really wild swings at how the fallout worked out for people. As it stands, it's still one of the largest heists in not just the history of Brazil, but also the world. Turns out some of the people who emerged successful after this tunnel attempt wanted to try it again. In 2011, they went to the title of world's biggest heists. This attempt was also aimed at Brazil's central bank, this time in Sao Paulo. The plan was the same except on a much larger scale. The tunnel was 2,000 feet long, and they were going after the equivalent of 97 million US dollars. So did this plan of theirs become a success like the one prior? Well, actually not. They were caught, as some of them were being watched as suspects following the original 2005 burglary. They were arrested just as their plan was coming to fruition. And this is why you never should rob the same bank 2 times in a row. Or maybe you don't buy 10 cars at once after your successful bank heist. Alright guys, that's all for today. Thanks for watching.